So hang on a second, hang on. So you're saying you've been with me for ages, you've watched all of my YouTube videos, you've imbibed my content, you've benefited from these free resources I've put out, from my blog, etc. But you resent me doing something that's going to allow me to pay rent, to pay bills, to pay my accountant, to pay for food, to basically be materially secure so I can continue to make the things that I make. Hello, my sweet peaches. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to set a boundary. I'm going to very forthrightly and vocally set a boundary for myself, okay? I talk about boundaries a lot in the work that I do here on YouTube and with my clients in my sessions. I'm very pro-boundary. I teach a lot about how to assert your boundaries, how to even figure out what those boundaries are, how you might communicate your boundaries with different types of people or in different situations, and how to be unapologetic about it, how to own your boundaries because you're not a bad person for having them. It doesn't mean that you don't love people enough or care for people enough. In fact, setting boundaries is often what allows you to love and care for people more because you're not doing so in a self-sacrificial way that silences yourself and makes you quietly suffer while you're in the process of giving. So I've got a lot of good things to say about boundaries, but I do know that the reason that it can be so hairy talking about boundaries and instating them is because of how upset and disconcerted and uncomfortable they can make some people feel for various reasons. So obviously I know that this video is different from the usual content that I put out. I'm aware that my videos are not usually so much to do with me, but more to do with what I've learned, what I teach, what I'm qualified to talk about, helpful things essentially. But every so often I realize that something is going a little bit awry when it comes to my online presence and the work that I do in the world. And I need to do a little bit of housekeeping and I need to talk to people a little bit about what's what. So that's what this video is about. I feel like it's a long overdue. I feel like it's something I should probably have done quite a while ago, but I'm going to lay the law down today and get my boundaries out there and just make it official so that we can all move on together into the beauty of Self-Love September and my Halloween and Samhain content and beyond, okay? Because I love doing what I do. I get great pleasure from making videos and making other resources and being present on socials and working with clients and all of that. And I don't want it to be anymore something where there's a little thorn in my side, something I'm not talking about, but something that I'm experiencing that's bothering me. So I would like to be plain and clear today in this video. And I hope that it's something that you can watch and accept from me and know that I'm not trying to be malicious and I'm not trying to in any way upset anyone. I just feel like it's really important for me and for my continued work in the world that I get these feelings and thoughts out there and state them for the record. I am going to have a little bit of a rant today in this video, I will admit. I'm just going to put it right out there. This is going to be a little bit ranty. So before I get into that ranty stuff, I want to say a few things. Firstly, I want to thank all of my subscribers. You are gems. I want to thank everybody who engages with me in the comments underneath these videos, everybody who likes them, everybody who shares them. I want to thank my clients, past, present, and future. I want to thank my patrons, past, present, and future. I want to thank anybody who's recommended one of my resources to a friend. I want to thank the readers of my books, past and present and future. Does that make sense? You know, there's a book kind of about to come out in October. I want to thank my readers. I want to thank everybody who's booked me for an event or a talk, anybody who's thought of me as someone that they would like to interview on their podcast, all of the beautiful conversations that I've gotten into, the amazing and wondrous people that I've met, my fellow cardslingers and spiritual people in the industry. I just adore the community that I'm a part of. There are problems, there are always problems, okay? But in general, I get a great amount of joy from being in this world and being able to put my voice into this world, but also being able to imbibe the voices and the opinions of others and get feedback on what I've created and give joyous feedback on what others have created. It's all a very good time. And I very, very rarely feel disrespected. I very rarely feel as though there are people that resent me also having a business, also having boundaries around how I work with clients, having boundaries around comments that I will and will not engage or entertain or accept. I feel like most people that engage with me get me, and they know that it's okay for me to be assertive in some situations, to say no in some situations, and they do not disrespect the fact that alongside the free materials I put out, I also run a business as well. that this video is not directed towards you guys, okay? I hope that you watch it because I want you to understand some of the things that I've been going through and thinking and feeling. But I know that I'm not talking to you, okay? You're amazing. And can I just say for the record as well, anyone who's never bought anything from me, anyone who's never purchased anything from my online store, you don't intend to, maybe it's not for you, but you like watching my videos, maybe you just do not have budget for the products and services that I sell, anything like that, I'm not talking to you either. If you respect me and you enjoy my free materials, but you can never buy anything from me, but you just like what I do, thank you. I see you. I appreciate you also. This is not about you. But don't click off because I still think this is a really important subject. And I think it's something that spiritual workers, right? Tarot readers and spiritual counselors and astrologers and Reiki healers and people that do any kind of professional witchcraft, all of that stuff. I feel like it's something that goes on quite a bit with us that is not talked about that much. It's not discussed that much. And I would like to blow the lid off of it. And whether you yourself also have a business and you're watching this and you've been a client or you've been engaging with my content, or whether you buy things from spiritual business owners, but you've never had a spiritual business, I think it's important that you understand some of what goes on under the hood. And I really want to talk about it today. This video that I'm making right now is about a tiny but loud minority of people who engage with my work, who seem to have a problem with the fact that I am a business owner and that I sell some products and services. I always feel that I've had a very nice balance over the course of the years between the free materials that I make, which includes all of these YouTube videos. It also includes, for a time, a newsletter that I used to write, all of my captions on socials, right? All of the lives that I do on socials. It includes some audio stuff that I've put out. It includes all kinds of different things. I wrote a blog for many years, so thousands and thousands of words that I've put out for free. I feel like all of that has been nicely offset by the products and services that I offer that are behind a paywall. And that includes anything to do with Patreon. And it also includes my sessions, my readings, and my workshops, right? As well as my 2 books, Rebel Witch and Witch in Darkness. That's the business area. I love making materials that are not behind a paywall. I love generating community and interacting on the basis of those materials, which gather people around them so we can have the discussions and grow together. But in order to do that and to do it on a full-time basis, naturally, of course, also, I work with clients one-to-one. I do workshops with clients, live workshops where we come together as a community. I offer resources and events on Patreon, and that pays my bills. That pays my bills. That pays my rent. That pays for my food. And it enables me to be able to continue with the free materials that I make. So it's kind of like this really amazing dance, right? Where I utilize my inspiration to fuel both my body of work online and in the world and on paper. And then I also use my inspiration to fuel what I do with my clients, my paid products and services, going deeper, working more intimately, working in settings where we can really sort of deep dive into certain things and I can give one-to-one attention. Those things are a marriage. They dance together really nicely. I love doing it that way. There are a small group of people that I've come across over the years who do not like that I do it that way, and they do not mind saying so. For some reason, they just have an issue with the idea that I would be able to make my living and be able to afford the things that I need to eat and stay warm and keep my lights on, whilst at the same time doing the things that they enjoy and imbibe for free. And often tell me that they enjoy and imbibe for free. And I really don't get that, and I resent it. And I feel it's a massive piece of shadow work that these people are overlooking. And I want to talk to you today a little bit about the way that it makes me feel, about the fact that I'm never going to change my mind about the way that I run my business. It doesn't matter how many times people say snarky, rude things to me about the fact that I have a spiritual business. I want to talk a little bit about the old tired trope that if you give and you're spiritual and you're mystical, you shouldn't make money. And the old tired trope as well, that if you're a woman and you're a caring woman and you deal in compassion, then you shouldn't do that for money. These things are all part of it. All of it. There's so much. There's so many different variables that I want to have a rant about today. I just want to get this out because as much as I've experienced so many supportive, beautiful people around my work, and I couldn't be more grateful for them, I want you to know that I have had to lay the law down several times over the years with people who feel they're entitled to as much from me as they can possibly get for free. And when they discover that I actually am making money using some of my skills, the tools that I've used, the way that I teach, the manner in which I give of myself, they don't like it and they're happy to say so. And I think that we need to call this out when we see it happening. I think we need to call it out. I think it's ugly. I think it's toxic. I think it's highly unfortunate. And I want to make this video in part to say that I have always, and I will continue to always, put that shadow work back on you. If you've ever done that to me, if you've ever done that to any business owner in this industry, I put that back onto you, and I hope they do as well. Because at the end of the day, money is the current value system. Surprise, surprise, but I need some of it to live. I need some of it to pay for the apartment that I live in. I need some of it to ingest food that keeps me alive. If you imbibe my work, if you follow my work, if you tell me that you enjoy what I do, but you're also happy to tell me that you resent that I've put anything that I've created behind a paywall, you are problematic. And I'm telling you that right now so you can sit with it and look at it and do it away from me. Because really, I've never had any care for this kind of opinion. I despise it when it's leveled at me. Don't think that it bothers me. Don't think that I'm going to change the way I do business because of it, because I'm not. I've just come here literally to state for the record and for other business owners as well who are dealing with this, that it's not on, that I won't fucking have it, and that it's not pleasant in my space. And you'll be blocked. You'll be blocked. And that will be it. I will not engage with you. I will not entertain you. So let's get into it, okay? Because I would like to get into it. Thank you for listening. I remember the very first time I had to lay the law down about this, and I laid it down hard. But I remember that I'd never had this criticism leveled at me before. This was the first time years ago. And so I remember being very upset, very shocked, very gutted, actually, that anybody could say this to me after everything that I felt I'd put into the world and how genuine I felt I was being about everything I was creating and the community that was being created around it, that I was really rather soul destroyed. Right now, it's water off a duck's fucking back, okay? I've been here, done that. I know that some people have this attitude that I consider to be really toxic, but at the time, it was really upsetting. And it was I think it was 2015, okay? So I'd been selling readings for a while and spiritual counseling sessions. So I'd been selling readings on a part-time basis since about late 2011, early 2012. I'd done a bunch of free readings, first of all, to see if I enjoyed the online format and to see what kind of feedback I got. And then I started selling readings for a very low price on Etsy. And I wanted to just build up my testimonials, get the feedback and sort of carry on working my full-time office job. But I really wanted to read for people. So I did that. Then in 2013, I qualified as a spiritual counselor. I got a diploma in spiritual counseling. I did some other studying. And so I started selling spiritual counseling sessions. Again, very reasonable rates, very low key. Did a little bit of marketing when I started my YouTube, but really nobody seemed to have an issue with that. The issue came in 2015 when I created my very first video course. It was called 29 Shadows, and it was 29 full videos about shadow work, which is something that I'd been talking about a great deal on YouTube. It is a massive passion of mine. I love talking about shadow work. I love reading from Jungian analysts who teach about it, because Jung didn't really have many hard and fast techniques. The theory is there, the concept is there. But Jungian analysts have really taken it and run with it. And I love reading about it and I love utilizing it. And it has been a life-saving psychological technology for me, let's say. So I really was excited to make a video course, and it was called 29 Shadows. You can buy it every once in a while. I still put it out on my archive like once a year to buy for anyone who wasn't around at the time. And I copped shit from people for putting that behind a paywall. I remember this is the first time that this attitude came up, was when I released the marketing for 29 Shadows, and I was so proud of it. It was my absolute baby. And I knew that for the amount of work I'd put into it, it was very reasonably priced, right? But compared to a single reading or session from me, it was a bit more money, obviously. There's 29 videos that each go into a different aspect of shadow work. So it's a purchase that you pay good money for and you get something good from it. It doesn't take away from any of the free stuff I'd put on YouTube, which gives you a really good grounding in shadow work. But it was sort of an extra, right, that you could buy if you wanted to. I remember putting the marketing for that on Facebook at the time. And the first comment that I received on it was, when are you going to break this down for free? When's it going on your channel? And I said, it's not going on my channel. It's a video course, basically, that takes you into the depths of different shadow work topics. And this person was like, cool, so you've led me down the garden path by making me think I was going to be taught shadow work by you, and now you're putting everything behind a paywall. That's nice. And I was like, no, I'll always, honestly, if this happened now, I'd block that bitch straight away, block. But at the time I was like really shocked, and I'd never come across this critique before. And I was like, oh, how could you think that I'm, being, anything other than perfectly genuine and deeply warm in my offering of shadow work content? So I was like, no, I'm still going to talk about shadow work. This is kind of more of a specialist package for people that want to go further. And this person was just shitty with me. Somebody else came along, and I'll never, ever forget it. They said, I can't believe you're putting such important information behind a paywall. It's really shocking because people need what you've put into these videos, and you're making people pay. So only the people that can pay will get this information. And then they said, I've watched every single one of your videos, Kellyanne. I've been a fan for ages. I've been an audience member for a long time, and I can't believe you would do this. And I sat there and I read the comment, and I read it again, and I thought, so hang on a second, hang on. So you're saying you've been with me for ages, you've watched all of my YouTube videos, you've imbibed my content, you've benefited from these free resources I've put out, from my blog, etc. But you resent me doing something that's going to allow me to pay rent, to pay bills, to pay my accountant, to pay for food, to basically be materially secure so I can continue to make the things that I make. Something's not adding up here. This is like deeply unfair on me. This is ridiculous. And so I said that back to them. I was like, don't you think that this is some shadow work that you need to do? Because you're literally saying you've benefited from what I've put out there, and that you are, you like my work, you like the resources I've put out. But you also seem to have lost track of the fact that, like, I need to do something for money, And if they really were a big fan of my work and they had watched a lot of my videos, they would know that one of the key reasons I'm so happy I can do this work in any measure is because I have a spinal injury, and sitting all day from 9 to 5 in an office, which I was doing for years, was becoming really bloody difficult for me. I need to move around. I need to be on the bed sometimes, on the couch sometimes, on the floor on cushions sometimes. I need to be able to lie down when my back gets bad. So I was really happy, not only because this is the work I most want to do in the world, but because physically, guys, it was time. It was time. I needed to stop this office do-si-do of being at work for 3 months and then being off on Valium for a month, and then going back to work for 4 months and then being off on Valium for 3 weeks. Like, it wasn't working for me anymore. It was awful. So it seemed like just the perfect dream scenario for me, and I really wanted to make it work. So they were also resenting the fact that I was doing something that was physically healthier for me. It didn't make sense. And so at that point, I put out a statement, and the statement just basically said, I won't fucking have it. I will not have it. If you're going to give me shit for having certain things behind a paywall, when you know damn well that I put all of this content lovingly out for nothing, then you have a problem with my work. You don't support me. You have a problem with me. You like what I put out, but you don't support me. And I don't want to keep company with people that don't support me making a reasonable amount of money. It's not a crazy amount of money. It's never been a crazy amount of money for what I produce. It's a reasonable amount of money. Even now, I'm industry standard price for a tarot reader. In fact, I undercharge at this point, to be honest with you. The way things have gone in the economy, the way prices have gone up, I do my market research and I'm undercharging. But I like as many people to be able to afford me as possible. I really do. I don't want people to be shut out from my services if I can possibly help it. But I also want to make sure I don't shut myself out of making a secure living and having to do odd jobs here and there, part-time things to sustain my tarot reading practice. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to make the amount of money I need to make, okay? The amount of money I need to make, guys. I've never been swimming around in a fucking, pool with the Fool card on it in my condo in some hot country that's a tax haven. That's not me. I live an ordinary life. I can afford things in an ordinary way. I'm not richy rich. That was never the point of me doing this work. That was never what I got into it for at all. You don't get into it for that. You just don't, especially not at the time I started doing it, when it wasn't a super popular, market saturated thing to be doing. I do what I do out of love. Okay. And so it was very disconcerting, and I set up a strong boundary then, and I blocked those people, and I was like, no, that is not fair on me. I deserve to be able to make some money alongside the free things that I do. 2023 was a pretty hard year for me in this regard too, I will say. I decided for the first time ever since I started Self-Love September in 2014 that I was going to put some of my Self-Love September resources onto Patreon, so behind a paywall. I was definitely going to do some Self-Love September stuff on YouTube, but I also wanted to do extras on Patreon and more videos on Patreon. And I do realise that this might have come as a shock to people who love Self-Love September every year. And yes, it's been since 2014 that I've been doing it. It's a tradition for me in my own self-development journey. Every year, September is the year where I really connect with self-love, self-care. What does it mean? What am I doing? What are the problems? How can I solve them? So I know people have been with me for that for many years. I know it was probably a bit of a shock. I did it for 3 reasons. The first reason is because I had a particularly slow summer in 2023, and summer is slower for tarot readers anyway. I always say to my friends that I'm a tarot reader for the majority of what I do, right? I mostly sling cards, and tarot readers in the winter, they're rich in money, and in the summer, they're rich in time. That's what I like to say. Things do slow down in the summer because in the winter, you've got Samhain, you've got New Year, you've got this really big feeling that people have that they want to do internal work on the Northern Hemisphere. So if your audience is really comprised of people from the Northern Hemisphere, you're going to find that you get a lot more attention and there's a lot more things people want you for in the winter. In the summer, I do still make a full-time living, but it's not as much. In 2023, it had been a year since the death of my brother, just over a year. My brother died in March 2022. I was not working the full-time hours that I usually work after that, right? I took some time off, obviously. Who the fuck wouldn't? I was very close to my brother. This is a tragedy, and it still is a tragedy. I'm coping with it all the time. So comprise the fact that I've had a summer where I barely worked, and then another summer where I wasn't working full time because I was still heavily grieving. My thought process was, if I put extras behind the paywall for Patreon, I can make sure that I'm okay and I can pay the person who now works with me, because I really needed somebody to start working with me and for me, right? I've got too much that I need to do. There's too much admin. There's too many different things that need doing. So I brought a friend on to work with me, and I'd had 2 slow summers because of grief, guys, because of grief. And so that was my number 1 idea of why I should put extras for SLS behind the paywall. The second reason that I put SLS extras behind the paywall is because Self-Love September videos don't do as well. They do not do as well. The algorithm does not favor them. My subscribers do not generally all tend to rock up for Self-Love September. There are many subscribers that I have who tell me that they just take the month off from me in September because they're not interested in the self-love content, which is absolutely fine. That's fine. But I had noticed the previous few years that the algorithm didn't favor me during September. My subscribers were not as interested, and that had a knock-on effect for me in the months following, because I had to really get the algorithm going again. And I thought, I don't want to deal with that. I just want everybody who wants to do deep self-love work to pay me the price of a coffee. Yes, it was £5 for the month. £5 we're arguing over. The price of a fucking coffee. I just wanted everybody who wanted to do the deeper work to come to Patreon for the month, party over there, and I'll just do a skeleton amount of content for YouTube, and so the algorithm is not going to get too angry. The third reason that I decided to put the extras for SLS behind a paywall is because I was feeling very vulnerable, very griefy, very difficult time in my life, obviously. And I felt that some of the materials I was going to make for SLS wouldn't be appropriate for YouTube. I do tend to go deeper and share more on Patreon sometimes. I've shared things on Patreon that I would never share on YouTube, about my family, about things that have happened to me in the past, stuff like that, because I feel safer on Patreon, right? You do feel safer when you're only talking to people who are invested in your work, who really show that they support you and believe in you in that way for certain stories that you have, yes, Patreon feels safer. It feels like a place where you can breathe out. You know that there are no haters, because haters would have to be crazy to pay a fiver, a tenner or 15 quid just to torment you on Patreon, for which they would instantly be removed, right? So it feels safer because you know you're only among people who support you and have your best interests at heart. So I felt that for the content I wanted to put out for 2023, it would be vulnerable, it would be difficult. I didn't know how I was going to react to being online that much in September of 2023. So that was the third reason. I didn't explain any of these reasons because I don't owe anyone an explanation. I gave tons of free videos every September from 2014 all the way to 2022, helping people break down all of the self-love stuff that I've learned, that I've worked on with clients, and that has saved my life. If I want to put extras behind a paywall for 2023, I really don't see why that should mean that I'm tormented or I'm criticized or I'm told that I'm a bad person in some way. And yet that is what happened. Now, I did get a lot of support saying that I was going to put extras behind a paywall. Lots of people came over. We had a great time. Some of you are still patrons now. But even if you're not, I really appreciate the fact that you came for the month. We had a great time. I put out a lot of stuff. But I did also experience some really shitty comments underneath the video where I announced that. People just being like, you've ruined my September. I look forward to this every year and you've ruined it. You know, why are you making this into a money-making thing? I can't believe that you would do this. This is so unfair on me. The entitlement, guys. The fucking entitlement of that. I never said ever that I was going to keep doing the amount that I was doing in September for free indefinitely. And these people that were writing these comments, at least some of them must have known that I lost my brother the year before. Did it not occur to them in any world that maybe I needed to be a bit more private, I needed to be a bit more cognizant of money, and I needed to not be doing all of this work? And it is a lot of work. I start planning for Self-Love September in the July, August, right? It's a lot of work that I put into. Sometimes I make notes even before that. I'll start making notes at the beginning of the year about things I've learned and things I want to discuss with people, things I think would help people. Did it not occur to anyone that in 2023, I might be a bit vulnerable, a bit upset, a bit all over the place, and it might have been better for me to do it on Patreon? But the comments that I received, just like so nasty. Oh, you're all about the money now. Is that what it is? You're all about the money now. You've turned into some capitalistic bitch. It's like, it's £5 fucking. It's £5. Listen to yourself. So fucking rude. And I felt so horrible. And you know what? I put hardly anything on YouTube for Self-Love September in 2023, not to punish the lovely people who wanted to see things from me, who supported me making extra money, but because fuck those people who said those things. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable. I just thought to myself, you know what? I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a lot that I want to say. I'm just going to stick it on Patreon, where people have really demonstrated to me that they do appreciate the fact that I'm allowed to make money sometimes doing the things I do. And we had a whale of a time. Self-Love September for 2024 is coming back. I'm definitely going to do a live call on Patreon, but the majority of the resources will be back this year on YouTube, but not to satisfy the people that gave me shit. Fuck those people that gave me shit. It's because it's what I want to do. This is the nature of sometimes having to express a boundary and hold a boundary. And that is what I'm doing in this video. I'm saying that I do not deserve that kind of treatment. And I do not like feeling that entitlement. And I will not kowtow to it. I will not bow down to it. I will not let people convince me that I've done something wrong from doing that. So now we move to 2024. I put an announcement out a while ago explaining to everybody that I'm having a slight price rise this year. So if you want to get anything, grab it now while it's at the current rate. The reason that I announced that I'm going to be having a price rise rather than just doing it is because I know from speaking to thousands of clients at this point that a lot of people think about getting something with me for quite a while before they actually do. They're thinking about it in their mind, right? That they want to get something from me. And some people wait a while before they do. So I thought as a courtesy, it would be nice to just let people know that there will be a slight rise in the pricing. I got a lot of support around that. Clients message me saying they're pleased that I'm raising my prices slightly. Card slingers messaged me, professional card slingers, saying the same, that they thought my pricing was too low for how long I've been in the field and how much work I've done, etc. And I found that really heartwarming. However, several days later, when I posted a little marketing post on Instagram, which I do maybe once a month, I market my stuff. You know, I'm a self-employed business owner. You have to remind people that you have a business and you sell things. Somebody had to come in. One of these obnoxious people had to come in, and they just accused me of being unethical in my business practices, saying that I have no right to say that I do business mentoring and teach people ethical business strategy when I'm price hiking while people are going through a difficult time and struggling. As if I'm not also struggling because of the state of the economy, for one. And second of all, it's not a price hike. It's a reasonable price rise to put me in alignment with the industry standard, which I should be, because I've been teaching tarot online for years. I'm an award-winning tarot reader. I make a full-time living tarot reading. I should not be undercharging for too terribly long. I need to, at some point, bite the bullet and raise my prices a little bit. And it's going to be a little bit, guys. It's not going to be anything out of this world insane. But that feeling again came to me of like, wow, some people are just so fucking entitled. It's wild. It blows my banana. It really does. I decided to go full Chapel Roan and post a response to this on my Instagram. And this is what I posted. Anyone who has anything shitty to say about my pricing is getting blocked. I will not debate you. I will not entertain you. You will just be blocked. There is nothing wrong with the prices I charge for what I do. I'm a qualified spiritual counsellor with over 10 years experience, 2 published books, and over 700 free videos and thousands of free posts full of teachings and advice. If you follow my work, but you resent me being able to pay rent and buy food, then fuck you. And I mean that. And I know some people are going to think that's harsh. I know some people think that's inappropriate. I was told that in the comments by someone, you know, there's no need for that language. It seems really harsh. If the shoe fits, okay, only if the shoe fits, you should wear it. Because if the shoe fits, then I'm talking to you, okay? If you have a problem with me and what I charge for what I produce, and you don't think I should make that kind of money, which is absolutely just standard money, then we have an issue. Because you're not respecting the nature of my work and you're not imagining that I should be paid for it. And that means you don't take spiritual workers seriously. That means that you have an issue with the tired old trope that like nothing spiritual that you do, tarot, Reiki, astrology, should be paid for. Everybody should work a full-time job and then do this on the side. No matter how many clients they get, no matter how much in demand they are, they should have to essentially work 2 jobs and one of them they shouldn't be paid for. You either have an issue in that regard, and I really don't like that. And I talked about that in my video about witchcraft things that make me cringe, okay? This idea that we should not make money when we put in the time, the effort, the focus, we buy the books, we take the courses. Why the fuck should we not make that money, reasonable money, doing what we do? Why should we not? Either that or you have a problem with the fact that I'm a woman running a business, you know, being assertive, saying what I charge, feeling confident to accept money for what I do, and the fact that I'm a spiritual worker and I deal in compassion and self-love and healing and shadow work. There's this old tired idea that women shouldn't make money for that. It's just what they should go around doing for free. They should just go around doing that all the time anyway. How dare they make a stable living doing it? Do your shadow work. That shadow work that needs to be done. To those people that have left me those kinds of comments, why do you want people that do this kind of work to suffer? Why do you want people who are putting effort and integrity into a full-time living to suffer? Why do you want solo female entrepreneurs to suffer? Why are you following the work of people that do what I do and following their resources when you clearly don't take their work seriously enough to think they should ever be paid for it? To think that it's legitimate enough that they should actually earn some coins for it, to pay their bills? There's something wrong, and it's not a problem with me. It's a problem with you. Thanks thank you so much to all of the people that liked and commented positively underneath that statement that I made, okay? I really appreciate it. I particularly want to quote James Lowell, the tattoo artist. Absolutely adore him. He came in underneath my post and said, just because somebody can't afford something does not mean it's overpriced. And I'm tired of trying to get people to understand that. And I was like, yes, exactly the thing. Exactly the thing. It's not overpriced just because it can't go into your budget. Now, I will continue to make for free, lovingly, videos and, social media captions. I will do lives for free. I'll do whatever I feel like doing, totally free of charge, because I have a community here and I love it. I love the interaction. I love the vibes. I think all the time about the fact that without the internet, I don't know how much of an opportunity I would get to talk about these things and share about these things like spiritual healing and tarot and witchcraft. I love it and I will continue to do it. But I will also continue to put out paid resources without apology. And that's how things are going to go. And yes, anybody who has a problem with me making a reasonable amount of money to live will be blocked. And if you run a business and you're having this same problem, I suggest you deal with it in the exact same way. Don't give it energy. Don't give it time. It's not worth it. You have nothing to prove and you have nothing to explain. Keep going and let the people that value you and have the money to spend do so. And with that being said, if you want to go to my online store, you're always welcome. Go and check it out, buy a reading, buy a session, whatever you want to do. I'm doing a workshop, guys, in October. It's a shadow work workshop. I'm going to leave all the details for that down below. The tickets are insanely reasonably priced for what you get out of the 3-hour experience, plus playback and a worksheet. So yeah, I'm not going to apologize for anything I charge for, and I'm not going to stop doing anything I don't charge for. If you're not subscribed and you've enjoyed this video, get subscribed. And if you are subscribed, but you have a problem with me making money doing what I'm doing, get stuffed. And that is my boundary. Okay, that is the boundary. Thank you so much for listening. I'm very interested in any and all comments down below. But if I do see anything that, really mirrors or models some of the things I've told you have annoyed me in this video, I definitely will go ahead and I will enact my boundary, as is my right. Much love, my darlings, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Blessed be. Mwah.